Hello guys, it's Cues Mike's here, and today I'm going to do another Pokemon video. So, this is going to be about Generation 8 as well, and I'm going to be playing the trailer on my Switch, just over and over again. I do have some game sounds in the background, because I didn't feel like typing in the stream playlist again. I'm on a time limit here. So, yes. The starters were recently revealed, and I want to go through all of them and speculate what their final typings are. How this is going to work is... Okay, yes. How this is going to work is I'm going to pick 4 types from each starter, and I'm going to rank them from 4 to 1. How probable I think each one is. So, yes, and the rankings and the specific typings are independent of each other, which means if two starters get the same secondary type, that in no way means that they can't both be first. It just basically means that I just think that one of them is going to get the fighting. It means I think that one of them is going to get that specific type. I was going to use fighting as an example. So, I screwed that analogy up. Anyway, let's get started. We're going to go in order of how they were revealed in the trailer. We're going to start with Scorbunny. So, Scorbunny, for number 4, I think it's going to be Fire Fairy. You're going to have to listen to these Mario 64 effects because it's the only background music I've got. Anyway, yeah, so I honestly think that... So, the number 4 on almost all of these is sort of like a YOLO thing, where I just pick this random thing. It's like, it could happen, you know. And Scorbunny is just... I don't know what about it gives off fairy vibes, but something about it gives off fairy vibes. I'm thinking about its design, and then I just feel the fairy typing. Maybe it's because, like, it's sort of cute, and it gives off a pixie vibe. I don't know. But I just think Fire Fairy is a possibility. Number 3, we have Fire Electric. People seem to think that this is a possibility because it's so energetic. As you just saw, it would just jumped in the air really high and ran really quickly. And people seem to think that means electric, but I don't know if that's gonna work. The reason I don't know if that's gonna work is because, well, Sobble's the water type, which means it won't have the advantage. If they say, okay, cool, let's just make Scorbunny's final evolution an electric type, but then Sobble won't have the advantage, so... You could argue that they did actually do that in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, where they gave Empoleon a weakness to both of the other types. But part of that was... Part of that had nothing to do with the water typing, but it had to do with, well, the steel typing. And I don't know. I just don't think electric is too probable, because I think that not giving Sobble the advantage is something they don't want to do again. You need Mario's cat, buddy. Oh, well, rest in peace. Anyway, so yeah. Number 2, we have Fire Steel. Now, if you just saw in the trailer, you saw that Scorbunny was obviously running up a giant mill, and people seem to think, as well as I, that that means it could be a Fire Steel type. Now, I think this is a bit more probable than Fire Electric, simply because, well, first of all, it doesn't give Sobble the disadvantage. Second of all, it means that Sobble is actually resistant to both of the types. But getting Sobble's advantage out of the way, it could make sense that just because it's running up a mill, that's a somewhat hint to it being a steel type. Although I don't really know if that's really too good of a hint. But that's the only sort of trailer aspect. Number 1, I know people don't want this, but I'm here to deliver what I think's gonna happen, not what I want to happen. predictions, not hopes. I wow, I just goofed after saying, okay. I think that it's going to be firefighting. Yeah, I know no one wants another firefighting starter, but yeah, if you look at Scorbunny's nose, you notice that it does have the little band-aid over it, which is the same exact thing that, surprise, surprise, Maylene wears. It also has those band-aids on its legs. So, yeah, I don't think... Yeah, as much as it probably pains people to realize, it could very well be firefighting. Also, people seem to think that it will follow a soccer theme. I don't know why it specifically, probably because score and Scorbunny. Score is in the name, and it's the score, as in scoring in a game. And athletic beasts, athletic figures sort of give off a fighting type vibe. So, yeah. As much as it pains me to say it, that is a possibility. Well, now that we're done with Scorbunny, let's move on to the timid, chameleon-like Pokemon, Sobble. Now, Sobble, honestly, he's my baby, I must protect him, but not really. Sobble's adorable. Anyway, so, number 4. Remember how I addressed the whole fire electric and, well, Sobble wouldn't have the advantage thing? There are a few conditions. There are obviously things that resist electric. The problem is grass, it's already taken my Grookey, obviously, and electric, well, you can't have 2 electric types. I mean, you can, but they haven't done it before, so I doubt it. Da, 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 da. So, anyway, yeah. And there's only 2 more types, which we'll get back to. The reason I think it might be ground, the problem is we've already had a ground type, a water ground type in Swampert. But there's honestly nothing stopping us from having another duplicate in typings. Though I don't know if Game Freak wants to do it, there is a possibility that they will do it again. I personally do not think this is too probable and just don't think the fire electric type will be used at all. But that's also up to you. You can tell me what you think, whether you think it's whether it's going to be fire electric or not. But water ground would make it immune to the electric typing, but it would also give it a 4 times advantage, and I don't know if they want to do that either. That's the other risky part. Number 3 is water dragon, and this one's really questionable. People seem to think that it's going to be a dragon type because, well, Sobble is kind of timid, and to see it turn from a timid boy into a very fierce dragon would be kind of typical and cliche, but it would also be the thing that people are expecting. So, yeah. It arises problems with Grookey's super effectiveness against it, but again, we'll get back to that. It also does provide a way to not be immune to fire electric, and not be 4 times super effective against it. Number 2, we have water fighting. Now, the reason I think this is because there is a chance that he'll just, he'll come out of his shell and become a fierce fighting type. Similar to the dragon, it's just, it doesn't have that whole, yeah, Grookey's not super effective now problem to it. So, anyway, yeah. And I know this is going by quickly, but number 1, we have water fighting. Now, water psychic. Now, many people seem to think there's a theme with Gen 8 with sports, but there's another possible theme, which is just Great Britain. which is just Great Britain jobs. And one of them is theatre, because they think Grookey is another one that I'll get back to. So, with theatre, I just think psychic, because psychic, and yeah. Because there's a Pokemon Uranium Gym where it's like, it's a whole theater place, and it's psychic. Another thing is it can turn invisible, but I don't think that amounts to it being ghost type, because Pokemon that aren't ghost type can turn invisible. But I think it could be psychic, because psychic powers to turn invisible do exist. And along with the whole theater thing, I think it's most probable water psychic. Lastly, we have the beauty known as, well, not beauty. We have Grookey. Now, Grookey, as you just saw, was banging a rock, and we'll get back to that. But for this, I personally think that it could be grass ground. It is kind of banging the ground with the stick. Well, it's also banging the rock. Another reason is this was the, I'm running out of ideas, let's just pick something, and ground just sort of resonated with me, so that's the main reason I was doing this. Number 3, we have Grass Fairy. Remember how I was saying the entire thing about if Sobble is a Water Dragon type Grookey, it won't be super effective? Well, it could work out, and they could have an Electric Dragon Fairy trio. They also have an Electric Dragon Steel trio. Sorry, Steel Dragon Fairy, which would be nice. But, yeah. If we have Grass Fairy, then that would solve the problem of not being good against Sobble's Dragon type, because it's the only type other than Dragon that's super effective against Water Dragon. So, knowing that, it could be Grass Fairy. It could easily be Grass Fairy. And, yeah. Number 2, we have Grass Rock. Now, Grass Rock, it was hitting a rock earlier, so many people seem to speculate that that makes it a rock type. But there's one more thing I want to address. Remember how I was doing the whole Great Britain jobs theme thing? So, there's theatre, then there's soccer, or football, as they call it in Great Britain. So, the last thing, I believe, is rock and roll. Now, yes. Rock and roll. Obviously, rock. That's part of the reason I think that it could be possible that it's a rock type. But many people seem to think that banging the rock with the stick. Another theory I've heard is baseball bat, how the stick sort of acts like a baseball bat or a cricket bat, and then the rock would act as a baseball, in quotes. So that's another reason it could become a rock type, but that's really it. Number 1, we have grass fighting. I know that both of the other Pokemon have fighting, but they seem to give off a whole fighting vibe, I guess. The reason I see Grookey as fighting is the very first thing when I saw Grookey is, oh gosh, this looks like a Chespin knockoff. And Chespin turns into Chestnut, who's grass fighting. This is not the only reason. Many people seem to think, I've seen fan art, and it could become where they look grass fighting. And here's the other reason. If it's grass fighting, Scorbunny can't be firefighting. And I don't think anyone here wants a firefighting type, so let's just pretend it's Grookey and not Scorbunny. So, you know. I know we've had a grass fighting type in the past, but still. I wish it was the same voice actor. They use the same voice clips. I know. So, yeah, that's why I think it could be grass fighting. And I know I said the whole chestnut knockoff thing, but I don't think Grookey is a chestnut knockoff now. It's just the colors were sort of so similar. But I don't think it's chestnut knockoff anymore. Calm down. So, yeah. That's really it for this video. Honestly, it was longer than I expected it to be. I expected it to be really short, but it was a whole 15 minutes. I guess I'm just bad at keeping top 10 short. Anyway, so yeah, these were potential Galar starter type, final evolution starter types that I came up with. Some of these are more likely than others. What do you think it could become, number one? And number two, out of the picks I chose, which do you think are most likely? Answer in the comments below. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, and bye.